Thanks for tuning into the channel, and just a brief introduction to this video. This is a 1948 Buick Roadmaster Convertible. I did all the metal work on this car. It took about 9 months over at Dreher Collision Concepts here in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Chad called me in and said, hey, I got this restoration. Can you work on it? I said, all right, cool. So we started the project. It was supposed to be done in, of course, a shorter amount of time than 9 months, but once we started to peel back the layers, we discovered there's no way with the amount of metal work and fabrication that this is going to meet a certain deadline. So we had to keep pushing it further and further, back. And luckily, the customer is very understanding, and I want to say thank you to the customer because he gave us the time we needed to really properly finish out this car. The foundation of any paintwork begins in the metal. So if you got the metal correct, then you can start the painting process. But until the metal is correct, really all you're doing is, you got to have the metal correct. That's where I always say any foundation for restoration is in the metal work. So you'll see that in this metal work that I'm doing, I have things numbered, and the reason why is because I want to have a reference from the left side or the passenger side or the driver's side when I'm creating a new panel from raw stock. There's areas that need to be cut out, and they needed to be reformed on the English wheels so it takes the proper shape of the panel. The original panel, it needs to sort of blend in, like disappear, and all the panels are butt welded, so they're completely, perfectly matched, and they're not an over and then covered up with filler. It's a perfect match because you want a butt weld and you want it all in the same plane. So if you see that I'm doing a lot of measurements there, it's because, once you cut it out and you cut metal, sure, you can re-weld pieces back on, but you really want to try to maintain a solid piece of a patch. That way there's less chance for corrosion. It just looks a lot better, and you don't have to use as much filler, because really we want to focus on the foundation of any restoration, and that is the metal work. If you get the metal work correct, then everything else falls into place. And like with this project, once all the panels all the patch panels were fabricated and everything was, fitting properly, we did a full, complete, put every single piece on the car, make sure it's perfect in alignment, it's going to open and close properly, and then we take it all apart again. And that's when the actual painting process begins. So before you even get to the paint, metal has to be correct. So just watch the video and you'll start to understand. There's no painting in this video, it's only just metal work. But if you look at the metal work and you think about that in your mind, the foundation of any paintwork begins in the metal. Foundation of any restoration begins in the metal. And you have to have an understanding customer, because, sorry man, it took us a little bit longer, but we finally brought it home. And thank you very much for that. All right, you guys, let's get back to working with our hands, all right? Cool, thank you. Have a good day.